Another year brings another banner for South Dakota women's basketball. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Coyote Corner. Heading into the final weekend of the regular season, Amy Williams' team was in position to clinch its second consecutive Summit League title, as well as the top seed for the conference tournament. Any combination of two, meaning South Dakota wins and South Dakota State losses, would get it done. First up, a stop in Fort Wayne on Thursday. The Coyotes beat the Dons by 32 a month earlier, and they picked up right where they left off. Taya He-Miller buries the three. Then it's Nicole Seekamp. Knocks down the jumper in transition later. Seekamp, great look to Kate Liveringhouse. Coyotes hit 8 of their first 12 shots and led 23-5 after one. Dons find a little more offense in the second. Camila Carter, 3-ball quarter pocket. A couple trips later, it's Carter again. Beats the shot clock buzzer. She led all scores with 21. Yotes maintained control, though. Jasmine Trimboli with a tasty dish to Liveringhouse. She had 10. South Dakota up 11 at the half. And they would really blow it open from there. He-Miller spots up for three. The senior scored a team-high 14 points on 6 of 6 shooting. She also finished with 5 assists, including this one to J.C. Bradley. South Dakota shot 80% in the third quarter, and they roll past Fort Wayne 90-63. That was enough to clinch the top seed for the Summit League tournament. But the news got better from there. Thanks to IUPUI's win over South Dakota State, the Coyotes also clinched the outright Summit League title for the second straight year.
It's a special thing. I mean, we have a goal of always trying to find ways to win championships, and just really proud of our team for being able to do that. This is a very special group led by 5 very special seniors, but this has been just a joy to be around this team, and I'm excited that I have another regular season game to coach them, and we're excited for postseason.
With the title already in tow, South Dakota wrapped up the regular season Saturday at IUPUI. Kelly Stewart scored 8 of her 11 in the first quarter to help the Yotes build a 10-point halftime lead. Jags try to keep the pace. Shakira Scott with the putback plus the foul. She had 14, but USD just too much in this one. Stewart with a great look to Seekamp. Team high 12 for her, and the Coyotes win again, their 14th straight, 74-63. They finished the regular season with an overall record of 24-5 and a 15-1 mark in the Summit League, which gives them the 3rd highest winning percentage in league history. The top-seeded Coyotes will play the opening game of the Summit League tournament for the 2nd straight year. They'll face Denver at 12 p.m. Saturday. We'll take a closer look at that matchup a little later in the show. The regular season title is one thing, but Amy Williams and the Coyotes are already turning their attention to Sioux Falls. What's it going to take to complete the Summit League sweep? We'll ask the head coach when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to Coyote Corner. Jay Elson, joined now by head coach of the back-to-back Summit League champion South Dakota women, Amy Williams. And Amy, how sweet does that sound?
That sounds really good, Jay. We're excited, just proud of our team to accomplish that goal, and back-to-back sounds pretty good.
Well, the only guarantee you had going into the week, Thursday, is that you were going to lock up the top seed for the Summit League tournament with a win over Fort Wayne. And it looked from the onset like your team had every intention of getting that part of it done. They did it in impressive fashion, too. What stood out to you most about that effort?
Well, I thought we really came out of the chute just ready to play, and we guarded pretty well. They scored 5 points there in that first quarter, and one of those was a banked-in three-pointer. So very good defensive intensity right away. But then I thought too many turnovers in the second half, and credit to Fort Wayne. They just really kind of mixed some things up defensively, got after us. They're a very scrappy team and hard-nosed team, and we knew on their home court they were fighting to be in Sioux Falls, and they gave great effort there and were able to close that gap heading into halftime.
Well, that first quarter, very strong, as you mentioned. The second quarter, they came back and closed it out a little bit on you, but boy, the third quarter, 12 of 15 from the floor. I mean, that's just dialed in.
Yeah, I think our kids were really sharing the basketball well and sticking to the ways we wanted to try to attack them defensively, and were able to get back a little bit of a comfortable lead there in the third quarter.
Well, as you were beating Fort Wayne, IUPUI was doing you a favor, beating South Dakota State, and that was what clinched that second straight Summit League title. Your reward, of course, a date with the Jaguars, right? I'm sure you're excited about that after they had just beaten the Jackrabbits. But this game ended up being meaningless in terms of the standings. But with that said, how important was it to get a win in Indianapolis?
Well, you know, we've been talking about we wanted each time that we lace up our shoes to use that opportunity to try to become the team that we're capable of becoming. And so every time we're wanting to find ways to improve. And I thought it would be really important for us to be kind of sharp in that game. And I thought the best thing that came out of that win for us was just we proved to ourselves that we can go into a really tough environment and overcome some adversity. And we had a lot of players, you know, Kelly Stewart in particular comes to mind, just stepping up and making great plays, and good bench play again, and kind of really helping the fact that we had a couple starters that were not contributing, you know, as they normally do. And so it's just really good to see us be able to overcome some of that adversity, overcome foul trouble, overcome too many turnovers, and still find a way to win in a very tough environment.
It's been quite an impressive run. You finished the regular season with 14 straight wins, 23-5 overall, 15-1 record in the Summit League, gives you the third best winning percentage in regular season history in the league. What does all that mean to you? Do you allow yourself to enjoy at least that part of it right now?
Well, I want our girls to take time to really enjoy this process as it's going on, and it's so easy to just kind of, you know, get locked into the next step. So we've tried to really take a step back and kind of enjoy this, and this is a really special team, and it's a special group, and we want to make sure we take the time to process all of that. But the truth is, you know, this was one of our goals, and we have some more set for our team, and so we're still focused on how can we keep getting better.
Well, you were in this exact position a year ago, regular season champs, #1 seed for the Summit League tournament. But of course, when it all came down to it, came up just one win short of that ultimate goal, and that is, of course, the NCAA tournament. How much, if any, conversation will there be about that this week? Do you even need to remind your girls of what happened last year?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any reason to do that. This is a completely different team, and you know, right now we're just trying to lock into this team and what's going on this year, and I think this group, you know, is just another year more experienced, and they've been there and done that, and they know the expectations, they know what's coming, and so I think we're more poised to handle that.
Well, the road starts Saturday against Denver, who you saw just a couple of weeks ago out in the Mile High City. What are your thoughts on this third matchup with the Pioneers? Always obviously difficult to beat anybody three times in one season, even if they are the #8 seed.
Yeah, I mean, Denver just, you know, they're a dangerous team because they're led by Paige Bradley, who's just a tremendous senior leader and capable of scoring in bunches. And we saw that firsthand in the Dome when she hit 5 first-half threes against us. I mean, she's just a very capable leader for that team. And they've added some players back into the mix that weren't playing against us the first times that we played that team. And I think they're starting to be a more complete team as they have recovered from some serious injuries.
Well, good luck. Congrats on the regular season championship. We'll see what happens, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, thanks, Amy. Well, the Coyote men punched their ticket to Sioux Falls with an upset in Indianapolis. We'll recap their big win over IUPUI when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back. While the women were fighting for the top seed, the South Dakota men were simply hoping to earn a place in Sioux Falls. The Coyotes were clinging to the 8th and final spot entering play last week, needing a win or a Western Illinois loss to lock it up. Needless to say, Craig Smith and company were hoping to take care of business themselves Thursday against IUPUI. Good start for the offense. Tyler Flack hits the turnaround to get things going. Coyotes moving the rock well. Good look for Casey Kasperbauer here. He's got it for 3. And it's Kasperbauer again. Creates his own shot this time. South Dakota up 3. On the other end, Darrell Combs starting to sizzle. He dropped 20 in the first half. Outside of him, the Coyotes had a pretty good half defensively. Trey Norris, the steal and the score. USD up 5 at the break. Combs still hot to start the second. Another of his 6 threes there. And later he goes off the dribble. Jags eventually pulled within 4. Yotes answered with 7 straight. Trey Burnett rattles the 3. Then it's Casper Bauer off the inbound, 72-61 USD. IUPUI had one more run in the tank. It's Combs again, career high 32 for him. But the Coyotes weren't going to let this one get away. Flack with a big answer here. Career best 22 points for him. And the Coyotes hang on to secure their Summit League tournament bid, 85-82. In addition to Flack, South Dakota, which shot 59% in the second half, also got a big night from Norris. The senior finished with 17 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals. With that tournament bid in hand, the Coyotes headed for Macomb, where they could claim the 7th seed with a win over Western Illinois. But they ran into a bit of a buzzsaw. The Leathernecks unconscious from outside. Mike McClusack for 3. Garrett Covington, he got it as well. Then it's McClusack again. He hit 4 of Western's 10 first-half triples, and the Necks led 54-29 at the break. The Yotes didn't quit, though. In fact, they came roaring back. Casper Bauer, he's okay from outside, too. He finished with 10. South Dakota went on a 19-0 run to get back within 6 with about 9.5 minutes to play, but it proved to be too little, too late. Western Illinois forced 4 Coyote turnovers down the stretch, leading to 6 points, and that helped the Leathernecks close it out. 90-76 was the final. South Dakota put 5 players in double figures, led by Burnett with 18, but that first half hole was just a little too deep. It's the Coyotes' first loss to the Leathernecks in the last 5 meetings, and with that, they finished the regular season at 14-17 overall and 5-11 in the Summit League. Well, it may not have been the result they were hoping for out of their final Summit League tournament tune-up. The bottom line is they're in, and Craig Smith couldn't be happier. We'll get his thoughts on the opportunity that awaits his team in Sioux Falls when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to Kyle Corner. Jay Elson joined now by head coach of the Coyote men, Craig Smith. And Craig, the situation coming into last week, pretty simple for you. You needed one win or a Western Illinois loss to clinch a spot in the Summit League tournament. And as it turned out, both of those things actually happened on Thursday night. So before we get into too much detail here, the feeling initially when you realized, hey, we're in.
We said all year, if you're good enough to make the conference tournament, you're good enough to make the conference tournament. It's not really a discussion that we want to be a part of, and so I'm sure it was a relief to the guys. We never ever talked about it as a team. I thought we played really good basketball against IUPUI. I thought we played probably one of our 3 best games of the year all the way around. Every guy that got in there contributed in some sort of fashion and in a positive way. And it was an exciting game to be a part of and a great victory for us because that was only their second loss on their home court.
You mentioned IUPUI. It was a very good game. You look at the box score, everything stands out about it. And was that balance the key for you in terms of what led to that win, or was there something else?
Yeah, I think it needs to be all year long. I thought we defended very, very well. We rebounded in an excellent fashion against a team that really rebounds it well. We had some guys make some huge baskets late in shot clocks at critical moments. Burnett made a couple. Flack made a couple. Trey Norris got fouled late. And then certainly at the very end, when they cut the lead to 2, Flack kind of puts a nail in the coffin by getting a really tough finish at the rim.
Bottom line, qualifying for the tournament, as you mentioned, that was the ultimate goal. Some people might not care how it gets done, but is winning to get in make it a little bit better for you? Is that the way you want to do it?
Well, anytime you can win, it's a positive thing. So, yeah, it helps to gain momentum, right? You want to get wins to gain momentum going into the conference tournament. And certainly when we won that one, I felt like we gained a lot of momentum, gave our guys some confidence that we can go out there and get this thing done. And then postseason tournament, everyone's record's 0-0, as the old cliche goes, right? So we'll see what we can do this weekend.
Well, your work wasn't done there. I mean, you tried to take that momentum with you to Macomb on Saturday. Still had a chance to get the 7 seed with the win in the regular season finale against Western Illinois. And if not for a ridiculous three-point shooting performance from that team in the first half, it very well might have happened.
They played very, very well. I thought they played about as good as they could play in the first half. They go 10 for 16 from the three. Our offense just got anemic. We thought we played a lot of one-on-one basketball, took quick shots, quick long shots. And when you're missing quick long shots, it feeds into people's transition game, and that's their best offense. And they got going in transition and started nailing three after three and got some easy baskets. And we tried to get a 12-point deficit back on one shot, and you just can't do that. And all of a sudden we're down 25, and then from about the 17-minute mark to about the 9-minute mark, I mean, we put on a tremendous flurry. We went from down 29 to down 6, and we missed a front end that of a one-on-one that could have got it to 4, and then we just kind of went back and forth from there on out. So disappointing loss, certainly. We'd love to get the road sweep and really, create some serious mojo going into the conference tournament. But we'll come back with a good week of practice and see what we can do against an excellent Fort Wayne team.
Yeah, the loss does set up a showdown with top-seeded Fort Wayne in the Summit League quarterfinals on Saturday. If you're going to pull off the upset, I mean, the first couple of matchups with the Mastodons ended in double-digit losses, but if you're going to get this one, what has to happen?
Well, a lot of things have to go right. I mean, they're very, very good. They're one of the 10 best three-point shooting teams in the country. Certainly Landis is probably the odds-on favorite to be the player of the year, and he put a salty 44 up against us the last time we played him. And John Concher, I'm sure, will be an all-league guy. He's a redshirt freshman, leads the league in rebounding, just really knows how to play. But they really stretch you. They have 4 guys on the floor that can always shoot it, and sometimes 5. So we're going to have to do a great job on Landis. We're going to have to do a great job with screen and roll D. We're going to have to find their shooters in a much better fashion than we did the last game out.
Have you been able to gauge at all where your team's at mentally right now? I mean, do they feel like there's no pressure on them? Go ahead.
Our guys, I mean, I love we've had a very businessman approach to practices and games. We had a great look to us actually going into both games last weekend. That's why it was a bit surprising the way we played that first half against Western, because the guys were really locked in and focused, and so our demeanor's been very good. Our attitude's been very, very positive. Our practices have been high energy in the last month. So I feel like our guys are excited for the opportunity in front of them. They know it's a tremendous challenge, but one we're looking forward to.
Certainly wish you the best of luck in Sioux Falls, and look forward to talking about afterwards.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, thanks, Greg. Well, the men get Fort Wayne. The women are set to take on Denver in the opening round of the Summit League tournament. We'll take a closer look at both of those matchups after this.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Well, the brackets are set for the 2016 Summit League Championships in Sioux Falls. As we mentioned earlier, the top-seeded Coyote women will tip off the tournament for the second straight year. They'll take on Denver at 12 p.m. on Saturday. Now, South Dakota swept the season series from the Pioneers, winning 85-60 in Vermillion on New Year's Day and 79-33 in Denver on February 5th. The Pioneers, who finished 3-13 in the conference, are led by Paige Bradley. The senior guard averages about 13.5 points per game, and when she's on, she's a very dangerous three-point shooter. Bradley hasn't shot it as well from outside this season, but she did hit 5 triples in the first half at the Dakota Dome. Overall, though, Denver has struggled to get much offense going at all against USD this year. Over the last 3 halves, DU has connected on just 28% of its shots and 16% of its attempts from the perimeter. They also turned it over a total of 33 times in the 2 games, leading to 40 points for the Coyotes. Here's a look now at the full bracket. The winner of that USD Denver game will advance to Monday's semifinals, where they'll await the winner of Sunday's 4-5 matchup between Oral Roberts and Western Illinois. The bottom half of the bracket features South Dakota State against Fort Wayne and IUPUI taking on Omaha. On the men's side, if things prove to be anywhere near as unpredictable as the regular season was, then we should be in for an extremely entertaining tournament. South Dakota will face top-seeded Fort Wayne in a rematch of last year's quarterfinals at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Now, the Coyotes, of course, won that one, but the Dons have taken a pair of double-digit decisions since then. The latest came on February 4th when Summit League Player of the Year frontrunner Max Landis went for a career-high and school record 44 points and a 95-82 win at the Dakota Dome. And that game was a perfect example of what Fort Wayne does. This is one of the top three-point shooting teams in the country. In fact, they rank 4th in the NCAA in three-point field goals and 7th in both threes per game and three-point percentage. The Dons hit 20 triples in that game in Vermillion, 11 of which came from Landis. So as we heard Coach Smith allude to earlier, the Yotes are going to have to find a way to make life a little less comfortable on the perimeter if they want to be successful. Saturday's other quarterfinal features second-seeded South Dakota State against Oral Roberts. Sunday's men's action will get underway with IUPUI and North Dakota State, with Omaha and Denver playing the nightcap. The semifinals are set for 6 and 8 p.m. on Monday, March 7th. Finally now, Midco Sports Network is proud to once again serve as your tournament headquarters. You can catch the first 12 games of this year's tournament right here on Midco SN. That's the quarterfinals through the semis. For additional tournament info, be sure to follow along on Twitter at Midco SN. You can also check out our Facebook page for fun contests, photos, and trivia. We also ask that you interact with us throughout this year's tournament using the hashtag TourneyHQ. All right, that is our time for this week. For Alex Heinert, I'm Jay Elson. We'll be back to recap South Dakota's runs through their respective Summit League tournaments on Tuesday, March 15th. Until then, enjoy the postseason.